Welcome to Release Date, the podcast where we discuss movies and pop culture with no experience or authority. Well, boys, how goes it today?
It's good.
Doing well.
Ready to discover some treasure.
We're discussing one of our personal favorites, a movie we've seen far too many times for anyone's like.
Too many times. Way more quotable than you think it is.
But you know what they say? You know what they say? Somebody's got to do a podcast, man. You got to do a podcast.
Somebody's got to do it.
Oh my gosh.
Today we are reviewing National Treasure, aka Natty T.
AKA Natty Dose.
That's for next week. Well, the sequel's pretty good too. But that can be a discussion for a later date.
That might be a separate podcast.
I can guarantee right now we're going to do another one about Natty T2. There's so much more to it. So much depth.
Guarantees it.
Oh, 100%. It's on the list.
If the fans want it, I'm in. If not,
comment below if you would listen.
AKA Stewie.
If we get one comment, we're doing it. Just one comment, it's on.
It better not be from one of us, though. I'll make a fake account just to comment that.
Do it, please. I would love that.
As long as there's one comment, we're in.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but Natty T, let's do this. Made in 2004, directed by our homeboy, John Turteltaub. No idea who that is. Never heard of him in my life, but he makes a darn good movie.
The only thing I know is Natty T from him, but I'm also not a...
I didn't look up anything about him. I just saw his name. It was like his last name's Turtle.
I thought the same
thing. Can you believe 2004 though?
That's 2004.
That's pretty old.
So
like
much
it feels
more recent than that.
It feels late 2000s or like to me at the very least.
Well, it's weird. It's like in my mind,
Agreed.
2008 isn't really that long ago. But like if you sit down and think about it, like that was a long time ago. Like it's ridiculous.
An entire decade has passed, plus a little more. We were all in like elementary school. Yeah.
2004, 2008.
When this movie came out.
I remember the first scene I saw from this, because like for whatever reason, my mom wouldn't let me watch it for like a while because I was pretty young when it came out.
What, the Jurassic Park for Ryan?
But I mean, I watched it later.
But National Treasure.
As soon as I hit like fourth grade, I could watch. I'm talking like second grade.
Okay.
Oh yeah, big difference.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I see what you're saying.
I remember my brother like illegally he showed me the scene where they do like the lemon juice on the back of the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was cool and had no idea what was going on. I don't think I knew what the Declaration of Independence was.
Lemon.
Oh my god.
It needs heat.
Sorry, not gonna lie, when they both breathe on it, kind of hot.
I was gonna say that's probably one of my favorite like low-key scenes. It's so ridiculously dramatic. Give me your best bet.
We need more heat.
Oh my gosh.
We need more lemons. Put it in the oven. No.
This is ridiculous.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, budget of the movie was 100 million. Worldwide gross sales 347 million.
Pretty good.
That's
the budget was mainly for our boy Cage.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage. We know he's taking 99 million of that. Other places, historic places, already there. Charlotte in the snow already, believe it or not.
Did you know that scene, the opening scene was shot in Utah?
Was it really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Soldier Creek Reservoir, which is right by Strawberry. It's like created Strawberry Reservoir.
Really?
I did not know that.
Can we please visit that?
Oh, we've already been. What?
There have to be remains of Charlotte still there. There's no way they cleaned it all up.
There's not a chance. It's all a conspiracy.
Just bring a water bottle and it'll be good.
Yeah. Going into it, what are the odds that he would just be on literally the name Charlotte of the whole ship?
We call that theatrics.
Charlotte.
I will give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt here because he was using a metal detector. And newsflash, Ryan, metal detectors can't detect wood. I don't know if you knew that. They detect metal. So
cheeky, very cheeky.
It was the bell, so that makes a lot more sense.
Okay. Oh, yeah. No, yeah. Okay,
I can't
makes
tell
sense
if you
now.
are actually making fun of me or what.
For the movie's sake, it had to be Ben. Ben had to find it. Had to be for the dramatic. The sequelizer Charlotte. If Riley had found it, that would have been fun. They would have been like, "What's this, Ben?" Actually, it probably would have been funnier if you found it. But
oh my, I love that. Oh my, yeah, I don't know. That's the one thing I did notice though. I mean, like, for as much as I love this movie. Like, don't get me wrong, I love it, love it, love it. But when you like go over it a little more with a fine tooth comb, there's like about a bajillion plot holes.
No. I started watching the CinemaSins video and I couldn't. I turned it off after like a minute. I'm like, this is ruining the sanctity of this film. I can't.
Oh
that's
my
what
gosh.
I think from like a more objective standpoint, this movie it doesn't hold up very well, but we love it so much just because we love Natty T. But because I was with Ryan too. Like the more I scrutinize it, I'm like, oh no, but it's not National Treasure. Of course it's good. I don't want to ruin it.
Where do you think though, like, that love comes from? Like, I honestly don't know if I know like why I like it so much. Like, I feel like I shouldn't like it as much as I do.
I would say it's a decently well-made movie. It's a good storyline. It's the chase of the treasure. It's the pirate within all of us. And I think we all love that.
I think it's just pure fun. Like,
yeah,
whether or not, like, I mean, the realism of it is totally out there. And there's some, like you said, there's some major plot holes. You're like, what? But like, they kind of have you hooked.
Yeah.
The score is good. The history just like is cool enough that you're like, oh, I kind of like this. And it's just a fun ride, you know?
That's true.
We are talking though, like large crisis, like the Declaration of Independence is stolen. I've recently been watching Designated Survivor. Like,
oh my god!
Here we go, Designated Survivor.
I
recently was watching.
Everyone in the Capitol dies, right? Like everyone who's at the State of the Union except for the Designated Survivor, and we're talking like major crisis. And even then, like, of course, it's not as realistic as it would probably be in real life. Like, it would be the world would be on lockdown, really.
I would dare say that event occurring is more likely than someone stealing the Declaration of Independence. One missile strike to DC versus someone going in and
right. Yeah,
I don't think that's a higher likelihood.
I would agree. I would think more people would be interested in taking out the people that are in charge rather than a document that we can just print again. Although it's not the exact same copy.
But the words are still there.
Yeah.
You found it, like,
yeah.
Thank you. The document dies, the country just fall apart.
Thomas was about to hammer me on that one.
Well, it's not, I mean, like,
I saw it in his eye.
Fax a copy.
If you think about it, it's not like a legally binding document. Like, the Constitution is like the highest law of the land, right? In the United States of America. The Declaration of Independence is literally just like there's before we were a country. It's just saying we
declare independence.
Yeah, it's not legally binding. It's more like a letter, if you like honestly think about it.
That's true. He's got a good point.
Anyway, that's your history for the day.
So what they should have been protecting and put it on the Constitution, not the Declaration. Make a new movie, National Treasure.
National Treasure 3. I'm so excited for if it ever gets finished.
Speaking of which, I looked up right before this. The release date, here we are, for that is potentially the beginning of 2023.
Patent pending.
2023?
What?
Early 2023, though. We're talking.
That makes it totally fine.
Oh, yeah.
2023
is better than late 2023.
I heard a rumor that like they're kind of gone back and forth between making it a movie versus like a miniseries. I don't know.
A series on Disney Plus?
Not a series, but like a 5-episode little miniseries or something. I don't know if that's true.
I could be kind of down.
I could
Would
see
Nicolas Cage? Would Nicolas Cage be?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Well, I also know like the whole like COVID thing
with Nikki C
shut down.
Nikki C on Natty T on Disney. Those are some bars. Write those down.
Oh my!
All right, let's go over who's your favorite character and who's your least favorite character. Ryan, you first.
I think you guys will probably agree with me. My favorite character is Riley. I think just all around great character, comedic relief, says what he needs to say in the moment. He's like, he is just who he is. And I think everyone relates to him a little bit, like kind of a level-headed, but still funny. But I have to give Nicolas Cage the nomination of number 2 because this is his best performance by far in any movie that he's done. Because he is a character. Whoever this director is, Turtle Tab, did a good job at putting
Turtle Tap, good work.
hold on Nicolas Cage, because Nicolas Cage can be like way up here or way up here, and he maintained him. He's like, Nicholas, let's dial it back, bring it back.
Keep rolling. Tell you what, we'll give you 99% of the budget if you do a good job.
And
You just have to chill. And that's the beauty of it. But yeah, Riley is my favorite character.
I definitely feel like he's the one that relates most to the audience, and like he feels like the most realistic person to be like, you're along for the ride, and you're like your friend who randomly knows history way too much, and there's just like his clues, but he's like, all right, I'm good with computers.
I know. Honestly though, like I feel like I can see a little bit of myself in Riley, which is I guess is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah.
But like, think about it. He's dumb. I'm dumb. Like, think about this. The thing that really gets me is at the beginning where he's like, no, of course we're not stealing the Declaration of Independence, right? Because I'm obviously very against, touching things that shouldn't be touched, or like going places that we're not allowed to, or like running into like police. I hate anything that has to do with that. But he can get convinced with reasonable ease by his friends. And I feel like I'm the same way. Like I'm all like against something, and then you guys can convince me to do something.
So if we were to create a plot of like possibly stealing an important document in Washington D.C. next weekend, and we gave it a 75% chance of passing, like we could do it, would you do it with us?
That's a great ROI.
All right.
The thing, Ryan would have some
we'll
numbers.
Sell it on the black market real quick.
That's a terrible idea.
Trade it.
Trade it. Bigger, better.
Like a submarine. Oh man,
that's a good bargaining chip.
Honestly, I don't think you could put a dollar amount to like. I think the Declaration and like all those early documents are literally like priceless. I don't think you can put a dollar amount to their worth.
But you could.
Well, could you though? I don't think you could.
I don't know. With America, I don't think you can.
How about like a post-apocalyptic world? Like, do you think it would go for a lot?
A post-apocalyptic world?
Or do you think no one gives a rip?
What do you mean?
We're talking there's only one of them. Like this is NFT, like this is the only one ever created.
Like America itself may have been like destroyed, but there's still like people around, like there's still maybe some form of civilization
that respect the old civilization.
But it's like, do you think it would still go for like, do you think people would
it's a relic?
No.
I think people would someone would bid on it.
I think someone would, but I don't think it would hold nearly as much. Because if it's the Declaration of Independence for a country that no longer exists,
but one of the greatest countries.
I don't care. I don't give a rip about like the Declaration of Independence for like the sovereignty of Yugoslavia. Like that holds like zero value to me.
You're comparing America to Yugoslavia.
I'm sorry to all our former Yugoslav listeners. I apologize.
There's no hate. There's just a little. We're sorry.
Oh my.
A character for me that just I think Thomas knows I love is Sadusky.
Someone's got to go to prison, Ben.
Somebody.
Do you like ducks? Do you
like ducks?
You just gave away your best bargaining chip.
He's got some of the goodest lines. Like he just comes in, like he owns it, like he's all that. He's just FBI. They're like, we got a tip a while ago, and he's like, we didn't find any credibility. He's like, how about now? Like, you know what I mean? He's just thinking he's all that. It's like, oh come on, get off your high horse. But he's still his little greasy hair. He's the Freemason, of course. Like
he's got like that Eastern accent.
He's got the ring. He's got the ring.
Maybe he was in on it for all we know. He just lets Ben walk like it's nothing.
And that's what National Treasure 3 is about, the whole backstory of the FBI.
Oh, that would be deep.
That'd be pretty cool.
I don't know.
But what if?
Here's a question, Holmes. Do you legitimately think that Sadusky is a good FBI agent?
Legitimately?
Legitimately.
It's hard to look at this from the whole movie from a legit standpoint, because like I think the security, I don't think they would ever get past security in the first place. But like some of your notes are right. Like the FBI does get a lot of tips. So I mean, they're not gonna look into any credibility of Nicolas Cage of all people, and his little goon Riley. They don't care about that. But so I don't know. I would say no. I want to say yes, but I think I used to say realistically no. He's not.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's theatrics. Like obviously, like I mean, like in any story, you want like the good guy to win. But I don't think that like if you commit a crime, you're gonna get prosecuted, especially for something of that high nature.
Yeah.
But then again, I guess like at the beginning, like this, I don't know if you caught this. They say like I don't think anyone knows the declaration has been stolen. Basically, is what I'm saying. Other than the FBI, is because they say like at the point like no one knows why it got shut down, and they really quickly put a
they put a fake one up already.
Yeah,
like there's already a fake one there.
So I guess that's true. Because I mean, I don't know. Like to some extent, like I think there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that we don't realize. Like a lot of deals and negotiations that are made.
Yeah.
Like for example, sorry, no, Ryan, go for it. No, Ryan, please.
Quick question, just to throw it in there. Do we ever think any of like the major documents of the United States have actually been taken ever?
Heck no.
I don't think so. I think they're way too secure. But okay, a follow-up question.
Just wondering.
Do you think National Treasure, after it came out, made more security, like added more security in Washington, or no?
0%.
Maybe
you don't think so?
I think if anything, it was 9/11. That's what added more security to DC than a freaking movie.
But it was a big movie, and you know they probably have to take into account to say
2002, 2004, real close.
Well, first 2001
when they started adding security and everything.
Do you remember when they were adding security to everything?
There's got to be a chart. I'm gonna look it up sometime.
Yeah, stories.
Here's what I know. I can tell you that during the Salt Lake Olympics in February of 2002, security was at an all-time high. And I can tell you that probably equates to DC itself, because like think of like major like targets for like a foreign entity to attack. Like we know a plane was going to go attack like something in DC, whether it was a Capitol building or the White House. We know that for a fact. So obviously that put DC at a higher security threat than a freaking movie.
Nicolas Cage, though, Thomas. Nicolas Cage.
There's no way. I don't.
He showed that it was possible to take it.
He just gave us a step-by-step guide on how to steal a declaration.
You just throw a laser, tap into the security cameras, switch him up real quick.
You go on the gala, no one notices.
I could probably
give someone a certain coin with certain ink on it that you can see them typing on it.
It's
as easy as that. It's as easy as that.
It's as easy as that.
I think that coin is my biggest pet peeve of this movie. Their whole freaking plan hinges on Abigail Chase. First off, opening the present, seeing the present, picking it up, really getting it on her finger. Like she doesn't just
she does grab it like this. I made sure she grabs it like this.
So all her fingers touch it, and then they count on her not washing her hands and typing on her laptop, like knowing like she's gonna be the one to open up the safe or whatever. I just think it's ridiculous. I don't know. There's zero chance. And then grabbing the thumper off of the like
the glass,
champagne glass. It's ridiculous.
That's genius. It's genius.
It would not work.
He thought ahead.
Let me. I'm trying to track this down. So it's because she touches the coin and then but she has to have it all the way until she types in the thing.
Yeah,
is that how that works?
They need two things from her. First, they need her fingerprint from the champagne glass.
Gotcha.
And they also need to know what letters she types in for her laptop to open up the elevator or whatever it was at the secret.
Whatever, it's some door. Because I will say, I do think there's thinking about it now. Ben does know that it's a coin collection, and she likes the coins. She's obviously gonna touch it.
She's gonna touch it, and it's the last coin of the collection.
It's a pin. It's a campaign pin.
It's a pretty big coin.
It's not a coin.
A pretty big piece of metal.
Okay, close it. It's a pin. Sorry, but like you know what I mean. Like she's gonna touch that, but I guess the unrealistic part to me is that she doesn't, and it carries all the way over. Because that's the type of stuff
it is, though. It's supposed to stay for a while.
I mean,
that's why they use this specific stuff.
I think the glass is more realistic.
Yeah, I think
the coin is just too long. Because I think she gets it in the day and like it's that night.
But she grabs it like this.
A squirrel.
Guys, just let it live. Let it live.
I feel like you don't even need the stuff to get it off the champagne. Like I feel like you can just get your fingerprint off the champagne glass without needing the stuff. Honestly, I feel like you could just get it. Like when someone commits a crime, like they fingerprint the place, and they're able to pull.
Right, but to be able to copy it.
Albuquerque.
Valley Forge. It's Valley Forge.
Why? Okay. Also,
that's terrible. That's not in my list.
Oh, no bingo. Oh, sorry. The Secret Lives of Charlotte.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I already got blackout.
No. Another point I liked that Cinema Sins brought up was the fact that
Oh
Ben,
no.
why does Ben feel like he has to steal the Declaration to protect it? And he brought up the point that's saying like, just let the FBI know. Obviously, like they did, but it's like just let them know who
Yeah.
Ian is. And if it does happen, then they know exactly who has it. They can like trace him, and if not, then it doesn't get stolen.
Well, like even
Because
because
he still had to get the treasure somehow.
So is that his way of justifying it? Justifying because
Yeah.
he really wants it. So he's like, oh, maybe
Well, if someone else is gonna steal it, I guess I will.
I'll steal it. It makes it okay.
That's my logic, like, because it was gonna happen no matter what. Like they were gonna steal it. They had a plan just as well. If both of them were to work together, they wouldn't have gotten caught as quickly, I don't think. That's the second point. But I think that's how he justified it. That's how he was like, I got to be able to see the back somehow.
Now that's an interesting point that I don't know if I've ever thought about. It's like obviously like he wants to protect the Declaration of Independence, but also you just know he's itching to look on the back of that
he
thing.
really wants to. You're right.
His
and
whole
there's no
life
way
is based on this.
there's no way that if he worked with the FBI that he could even get close to it. I bet. So that's an interesting point. I don't know. I honestly don't know what the answer to that would be. Like part of me is like, oh, he would work with the FBI, but then on the other hand, it's like, well,
I don't think you can convince him.
Well, and I think that's
in our current standards, it's not possible.
Character. That
I don't think we could convince them. I don't think we
I
could
think
convince
you
the
could
FBI
just
to
like
look on the back of a document.
I don't think you could either. Yeah. I mean, I think they could prevent all they could do is like put extra guards, and they could be fine.
Interesting. I think Ryan, you might have just convinced me at that point. Well done.
I was counter arguing with whatever Cinnamon said it for everything. It's like, but what about this?
What about
this?
I get you.
Awkward silence.
Look at a few questions.
All right. What are the questions do we got?
Can I throw out a question just in general? We mentioned it before about the Freemasons. What are your guys' opinion on that? Who they are? Do we really have a secret society that's behind all of America that makes sure things go right and in the right way?
I mean,
do we think that we currently have that?
Thomas is part of the Illuminati,
or that it was a part of the past as well. Do we think it's a dying group? Do we think that it's a dead? I'd
have to definitely do more research. Like I've looked into it a couple times, but it's always just like vaguer things. I'm never sure I really get like, maybe that's probably the point of it because it's supposed to be secret, so no one really knows exactly. But like, I mean, I get the idea of like the Brotherhood and some of the things, and it's been intertwined with history, religion, and stuff. I think not to the extent that they're probably perceived as like running the whole country or have like their hand in everything, but I definitely think there's got to be some truth rooted in it, and like there's people that probably still practice it or do it, but I don't know if it's like as coordinated as maybe people think. But again, I'm very uneducated with I haven't done much research on Freemasonry, so
I think there's two main things to look at here. There are like two questions that you can stem from that.
It's basically two schools of thought.
Question one, do they exist? And question two, is there a group of powerful individuals that rule the world, right? Or like control things behind the scenes. So like question one, do they exist? Yes, we know they exist. There's like a Masonic lodge, I think like 10 minutes away from me. But I didn't know it was a Masonic lodge until like a week ago, which is pretty nuts. Anyway.
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
We should go visit.
It was just like one of those buildings that you always drive by, but you never actually know what it is.
They're always close and we never know, but they're always there.
Like we know it's an organization that exists. Do I think the Freemasons are a cult of people who are trying to be the puppet masters? No, I don't think that. I think it's like a brotherhood. I think like you go to end like frat, like it's gonna be a similar thing. Like we know that like Ben Franklin was a Freemason, Joseph Smith was a Freemason. Like we know like there's a lot of famous historical figures who were Freemasons, but I don't think that means that like they were like secretly calling the shots of the world.
But do you think they ever had any pull?
Well, I mean, it depends.
Like either at some point or now, or like you think there's like a small, like influential, like
I think as individuals they have pull, but not as an organization. Because if you like look at the founding fathers, like there's like maybe I think there's like 6 of them were Freemasons. Yeah. I don't think as a whole they're like, oh, we the Freemasons. I think it was more like me, Benjamin Franklin. This is my opinion. Because I mean, we do know like they had differing opinions too with like the Constitution and stuff like that, which is why we have a House of Representatives and a Senate, like stuff like that, like came from differing opinions.
Thomas, are you
Similar-
a quick
similar paths,
government
but
history
same goal.
lesson?
I don't think that there is an organization though, or like the elite. People love labeling them as the elite, but no one can quite define who they are. They say powerful people. I don't think there's anyone behind the scenes like calling the shots. There's no way. I don't think that at all.
A little bit of me believes it.
Really?
I think originally there was more pull in general, and maybe that it's grown so big, America's so big, it's a lot harder to do. But I still think there's hierarchy, you could say, of people above that are actually pulling and calling the shots that we just don't know about, that they're a secret society. Whether it's the Freemasons or not now, I don't know. I think in the past, Freemasons was a very important group of people, very influential, had money, had what you would call power, and they could influence the decisions in the future
I will say this
of the world.
I think there's one logical fallacy in thinking that Freemasons are only an American thing. Like Freemasons' origins, I think, come from England. I think it was literally like stonemasons, like back in like the medieval ages. And so I think there's a lot of harm in just assuming that America is like the one calling the shots of the whole world, because we know that's not true.
Yeah.
I
think it's an overall for the world's benefit, I'd say.
Benefit? More like, I don't know if it's benefit.
Downfall?
If there is, it's calling shots for what they want.
Yeah. I guess, yeah. And then would the Freemasons be considered good or bad in your guys' eyes?
Man, it's just like a freaking bro club. They're neutral.
I don't know.
I mean, I feel like there's got to be more to it. And like I said, I think to what extent is really more the argument. But I think they have to have a little bit of power or a little bit. But
I think people are getting confused between Freemasons and the Illuminati. I think the Illuminati is what everyone thinks of when they hear the word Freemason.
I don't think of that at all. I've never even crossed paths on that.
Well, because what you're saying the Freemasons are is what you're saying is what people think the Illuminati is. Same thing. A group of powerful individuals running the world. That's the same thing.
Yeah.
We'll never
know. A little tense in here.
Comment down below whether you think the Freemasons are legit, not. Do that influence?
That was just one of my questions for the day. I was just interested because they bring it up and they talk about it through the show.
No, it's true.
They were saying as if it's like influential people were Freemasons.
Well,
and
we
they
know that for a
the
fact.
world.
That's true.
Right.
But I think it's more the individual influence the world rather than the organization influence the world.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what we find out.
List of Freemasons.
Coming soon. Released.
There are a lot of.
Find out more about.
I don't know. It just kind of surprised me who's.
There's a whole level of system. There's a whole society within the Freemasons, even currently.
I mean, because they have a lot of.
Thing.
Yeah, they have a lot of like religious practices in there too.
Symbolism, everything, and like that.
But like I said, it's like, would we know who a Freemason of power would be at this time, or would it be secret?
Do we know our current Freemasons? Like,
Jeff Bezos, Holmes. What? That came out of nowhere.
I mean, if you had a guess, like it's probably pretty obvious.
I don't know.
That.
I don't know. It's Jeff Bezos. Do not quote me on that. That is just me throwing out random crap out there. I don't actually know.
It just says yes. The only word that came up is yes.
Your computer shuts down. Just
they know too much.
The only way to find out is for one of us to join Freemasonry. Become a brother.
I'm down.
Climb the ranks.
It says no. Jeff Bezos is not a member.
I'll join the Illuminati. Thomas, you join the Freemasons. Ryan, run for office.
Okay, here's the thing too.
What?
So I'm gonna read.
And this is where we start our own group.
Okay, so get this. Okay, so
talk to me.
Since this is like a list of presidents that were Freemasons, which is also 14 of the 45 presidents, it's 46 now, have been considered to be like known Freemasons, which is 31% of the presidency, which is kind of interesting. So here's the list: George Washington, James Monroe, Andrew Jackson, James K. Polk, James Buchanan,
Are
Andrew
you gonna
Johnson,
read all of them?
James Garfield. There's only 14. William
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought,
Buckley,
I said 24. I thought you said more. I was like, oh,
Teddy
sorry,
Roosevelt,
that's on me.
William
He's going for
Taft,
it.
Warren Harding, FDR, Harry Truman, Gerald Ford.
So Gerald Ford's the most recent
Yeah.
that we know of.
That we know of.
I mean, also, this is another thing that makes me think that
Conspiracy.
that even if they're a member of it, that they're not part of the same thing as some of these would be considered bitter, like political rivals back in the day. But then you're going to say, oh, but what if that was all staged? That's going to be the response to that.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily like
That
well,
wasn't my
like,
response, but yeah.
I feel like I said, like, there's a differing of opinions and stuff. I just think it's like,
Yeah.
But I think Ryan's main point isn't necessarily that it's like they have total control and it's all like nefarious. It's just saying that a lot of Freemasons are influential and powerful people.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to not correlate that they have at least some influence.
Whatever.
I mean, because like those like presidents of the United States, POTUS is supposed to be like the most powerful man in the world, and so I think there's got to be some
And that
correlation.
many of them are Freemasons? I don't know.
You know what I mean? But it's like
Something to think about.
But today, and I don't think it's as like you said as prominent or like you said
As open.
it could be maybe just more
if it is
secret, low
something.
key, and like you said, at this point, like I don't know if there's
Yeah.
much, but it's rooted in very influential people, and I think that has to you have to take that for something. But maybe Thomas doesn't agree.
I don't at all.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Going off of what Thomas says as well, they do have differing opinions, but I think they always have had the same goal in mind.
Which is what?
A better world.
But from whose opinion is the better world?
It's probably
What does that mean? It's such a subjective thing to saying a better world.
They all have different paths of getting to a better world, but the idea is a better world.
Well, like, what's the one common goal? You can't say a better world. If I learned anything in high school, it's setting a SMART goal and being specific with your goal. What is the specific goal of a better world? Give me something specific.
A more well-run world.
That's the same thing.
It isn't, but okay.
Give me something specific. Eliminating poverty.
That could be part of it. That could be part of it.
Increasing nation's economy.
A free world, a better economical world.
Okay, but then that's also where you get it. If the common goal is establishing a free world, some would say that's democracy, others would say that's not.
And that's where the different opinions comes from.
That's what I'm saying.
Different paths.
That's what I'm saying.
To a
That's like
similar goal.
Next question.
And folks, that's there's the scoop on Freemasonry.
Anyways,
most
we're
experts.
I digress. Anyways, can I say a completely unrelated and something that'll get us off that note?
Oh yeah, we'll pass this
Okay.
segment.
I'm still looking them up though.
Okay, when Ben was changing from a custodian to like a nice tux, it reminded me of Andy in The Office when he's like a custodian in the office and changes to manager in the nice tux. I don't know why. That was just like direct correlation for me. I don't know.
You could just see Ed Helms pulling up and be like, "What the Andy?" I could see it.
I know. It was just a funny thought that I had. Because not often does a custodian go to full tux in any
That's true.
movie, you know.
Can you just think of like how uncomfortable that would be, like wearing all that underneath your?
It'd be
That's a
so
lot of
hot.
layers.
It'd be so hot.
Oh man.
I have a question for you guys. Thought this would be interesting. So like towards the very end, they come to like the second to last room, and the Ben's like, "I really thought we'd find the treasure," and it's like and it kind of gives you like the wannabe like fake out. As an alternate ending, would you like the movie if they never found the treasure, or is that just stupid? Like what I mean? But it's like if they did it in a well way, but it's just like they come in, but it's like they really do. Like maybe there's some gold left. They authenticate it like, oh, this probably was legit, but maybe it was. Or is that just a bad ending?
The true treasure they found was friendship.
The true treasure was history and friendship.
And all of them got a medal. Oh wait, they didn't get any medal.
I mean, I don't know. That's a good question. I think there's a couple of things. Like, how would you answer the question of like, how did they get back? How did they get out?
Stairs.
Look,
Riley, are you crying?
Are you crying?
stairs.
Stairs. Let's say stairs one more time.
He kills me.
That's a good point. That's a really good question.
I thought of that and I was just curious. Like,
I would have probably been unsatisfied.
It's fair.
I don't know if I would have kept watching the show more because like
Even like
the whole point of it is the chase of the treasure.
The name of the show is National
Unless-
Treasure.
Unless it was like they didn't find it in that one and they were going to find it in the second one, but turns out they found it in both. Spoiler, sorry.
and there you have it.
There's more than one treasure.
I thought we keep bringing forth like the second movie.
I want to talk about it so bad. Like every time I automatically go to Book of Secrets and there's so much stuff.
Oh man. I don't know. Here's a question though. Let's just for fun. What do you think the third one is going to be about?
Freemasonry for sure.
First one had to do with like American.
Too soon.
Too soon. Hold on, it's too soon. Okay, I'm out. I'm backing out. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Okay. What do you think the third one's gonna be?
Well,
about?
because like we know the first one's like Revolutionary War, like that kind of stuff. The second one is more like Native Americans. What's the third one going to be? Like, what's going to be the main thing?
So it comes from this
Atlantis.
It comes from the President's Secret book on page 47, and so it does lean more towards conspiracy ish because it's like all those like Riley's like Area 51.
Well, I guess we know we know it's something. Okay, I guess we know it's going to be something that like the majority of the population knows. And we know what it's not going to be. We know it's not going to be JFK's assassination. We know it's not going to be Area 51, right? Because he's not going to mention those things, right?
Yeah, it's true.
So the question is, are they going to create a conspiracy, or are they going to like,
I don't know, take one that's already.
Yeah,
I think they'll base it off something that's real. It's a matter of what other treasures are there. I think of Atlantis, but I don't think that's as realistic. Maybe they already found El Dorado, basically.
El Dorado. Okay, sorry.
Shout out.
out.
Maybe some sort of other treasure. There's got to be something else that we have in American history that there's treasure. Just
Natty T always has a little bit of actual history in it.
What if
so I
it's
think
like,
they're gonna base it off.
It could be like J.P. Morgan's treasure. The kid something Rockefeller.
Be cool is like Nazi gold or like Nazi artifacts that they stole during World War II. That would be cool if it tied it back to like World War II somehow.
Like a World War II, I would really like that.
Well, because like they say like one of the conspiracy theories that Hitler came to like Argentina or Brazil or something. Like,
I've heard a little bit of that, but I haven't like. So you said gold or artifacts? What were you saying?
Well, so there's a couple of things. Like first off, there's like one of the palaces in like St. Petersburg. They like ransacked and stole like everything from, and it hasn't been found to this day. So like stuff like that. Like we know like there's a lot of art that has still been lost or stolen, or like I don't know, like maybe in museums that we just don't know. Like there's just so much of it that they stole. I don't know. That could be interesting.
Gotcha. Would they move outside the U.S.?
That's a good question. I don't know that, but I think it'd be cool if they tied in World War II somehow.
That would be cool. Because like I was just like, what if they went like Egyptian? But then I was like, well, is that too world like international? But they did travel a little more. In the
second one, yeah.
Like
so there has to be something related to the United States, but at the same time,
where did they go internationally in the second one?
France.
They go
right?
to Luxembourg.
Oh, France.
For
the Statue of Liberty.
Two
of them.
And Buckingham Palace.
The desks.
Yeah,
the
desk.
The Stinstand Resolute.
But it's still
trade-offs between France and Thailand. No, that's ridiculous. Holmes, the first one. Okay, my bad.
Oh man, I don't know. That's a good point. Not sure.
But yeah, there's got to be some sort of treasure. They always base it off some.
Yeah,
I think some nugget in history that's legit. Where that actually happened, and then they'll blow it up and movify it or
dramify it. I think it'd be so fun though to be like the writers behind National Treasure. I think that would be so fun, just like trying to come up with like all these clues,
all the
and, like,
plans,
tie in all like historical things. It's
the Silence Do Good letters. Yeah, no, it would be really fun to make all that happen.
Oh man.
Okay, speaking of which, I was gonna say give some props to the movie because I do think no other movie I think gets me hyped about like American history or like politics or just like national National Treasure. Yeah, and I think that's just like. It's fun, but also does like it has like some real history there, and I mean it's not like necessarily like, realistic, but it's like it's like engages me, and that's the first time you're kind of like, oh, like our founding fathers are kind of cool instead of
100% agree. Like, it takes it out of like the textbook, historical whatever, and puts it more like dramatic, more fun. Like you're right, it engages you. Like
it makes you want to learn more about history.
Like, is that true?
That's probably one of their main goals. Yeah. Relating back to like our opinion on Jurassic Park, like being a classic and maybe the only classic dinosaur movie. Do we think this is like the only classic treasure hunt movie?
I don't know.
Treasure hunt? Because I mean, you like Indiana Jones has like all those kind of
Indiana
like,
Jones.
I feels,
yeah.
you know what I mean, where it's like treasury and treasure hunty.
that's
I don't
true.
know how to.
I don't know if I would classify this as a classic. I think that it's a little more
Okay.
niche. I think it has a little more of a
Okay.
niche market, like amongst us. Like a lot of people like.
Amongst
are like,
us, it might be a classic.
oh yeah, I
We
really think that,
love
though.
Natty T.
Because
But
you make a great point about
Overall.
like Indiana Jones. Like that's going to be the classic over like
Yeah,
this.
Indiana Jones would be the classic of treasure hunt in general. I think.
But I will say I am a
that's the point.
sucker. I am a sucker for a good heist. I love a good heist.
the heist scene, no matter if it's a little, there could be argued there that it's maybe not. There's so many holes, but
something
it's so
I've always
much fun.
wanted to do is I've always wanted to plan a heist but never pull it off. I just think it'd be so fun just to like
It's
know
not
how
that
to
it
make it work.
shouldn't be done. It's that it can't be
Can't
done.
be done.
delicious jams and
Delicious
jellies.
jams and jellies. I was just gonna say.
What do you think's in the preservation room?
Delicious
jams and
jellies.
I just love that idea, like doing all the research, like finding like the blueprints. I don't know. I think it sounds so
That'd be
fun.
awesome.
Just to
It's
plan, not
yeah.
to do it. I'm going to reiterate.
Yeah,
Future employers, not to do
not
it.
to do
Not
it.
to do it.
Future-
Wink, wink. We'll see you
future
next week.
incorrect.
Oh, man.
I said 75% chance. You know,
Someone's going to go to prison, Ryan.
that's a passing rate.
And that's what we call
Oh,
passing.
man. Oh, I freaking love it. That's a
Okay,
good question.
oh,
though.
Okay.
Oh no, Ryan, you go.
I have another just off the wall kind of thing. I was like,
Uh-oh.
why does no one mention this? Ian's henchman just falls to his death. And no one brings it up
Shock.
after nothing happens. He just
They're
dies.
like, oh my gosh.
They're like, oh shoot, we should be more careful. And they keep going even after nothing happens. Well, we don't know. Like, we don't know if like they mention it, but do you think they would? They're like in the interrogation with the FBI. They're like,
by the way, some guy fell to his death.
what happened to this guy? Yeah, they're not gonna like mention it and have
Down
a
a
part of
hole.
murder. You know?
I feel like it's more like I don't think that's murder. I think it'll be classified more as an accident. But
An accident.
He just walked on the boards. Nothing happened.
yeah, well, I think
You go first.
what I'm saying is more like how they did not stumble upon him on the bottom. Like I don't know. That's where it gets me. Like when they end the little elevator thing.
The whole yeah.
Like how
did
they
fall on the
not?
side, I
That
guess.
seems like a pretty deep hole. Like he just falls, and I'm like,
How deep do you think that is?
I don't know. There's another treasure underneath that. And a treasure underneath that.
He says a certain number of stories below. I don't remember the exact number.
But
though.
how do they? They don't
5
know.
stories, but like he just guesstimated.
Yeah, maybe guessed.
I
But
think
how
it's
many-
cool. Like
pretty
the
deep.
subway. I love the subway. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of a cool like comparison of like, oh, like we're still in like modern
Well-
times.
What was that? The subway.
Subway.
Like that's such a weird. Like I would have never thought of that. Like that's I don't know. That's kind of neat. I think.
Oh, I just thought of a good question. If you guys can remember, what's your favorite clue? Like a favorite
Whoa.
clue that's given, or like even that you think it's like it's cool, dope, or like the way they find out about it or whatever.
I thought about this actually. I love that they brought back in the pipe as like the key to the last door. It was lucky that they had it, of course, that he gave it back to him and gave him that. But I thought it was cool that it wasn't just a clue of one thing, it was a clue of another thing, and it opened the door.
And it was like the final, like, so the secret
Yeah.
really did lie with Charlotte. Like it was like a big,
Yeah.
like,
It wasn't only the ship, but it was also the point of the key.
Tommy's thinking beef about the.
Hold on, I'm
clue
trying to make
now.
sure I have the order right. So it goes. So they find the pipe. Well, how did they get the clue for the pipe? Oh, from his great
Yeah.
whatever. So they have the pipe.
In the box.
It's
Barrel.
a poem. Then they have to get to the national.
$1 million pipe.
They have to get
Is
to
it
the
a
Declaration of
$1 million
Independence. And then after the Declaration of Independence, it leads them to the Silence Do Good letters. The Silence Do Good letters lead them to the Liberty Bell. Liberty Bell leads them to the Glasses. Glasses lead them back to the Declaration of Independence, which leads them to the
the
Trinity
streets.
Church.
Here at the wall, solo 2 E's.
He leads them to the church, and then the church is has the name of the dude in the back. Okay, that's the sequence of events.
Tommy just plotted the whole movie. Can we give a round of applause for that?
If I were to say that, how many times have you seen it? That's another question we might have to bring up.
More than how many appendages I have.
I've seen it a lot.
I was kind of say my favorite thing in the world was at a movie night one night and someone suggested National Treasure, and I didn't realize how much we collectively liked it
Yeah, how many people actually like it? It's impressive
No,
amount.
I'm talking about like us three.
Oh yeah.
Like when we watched it and we were just like,
because I think specifically, yeah, we watched it and then me and Thomas especially we were like laying down on the ground. We were quoting like every other line and we're like,
wait,
oh.
do you like that?
You're a
You
fan,
know
aren't you? You're one of those kids who quotes National
This
Treasure.
was-
I know you.
This is one of the movies like we had on in the car ride around the city or on road trips. This is one of those movies.
It's very rewatchable. Its rewatch value is high.
Plus,
It's fun. It's good.
yeah. Plus the
that
soundtrack, it doesn't get old.
And it's super quotable too.
Yeah. Surprisingly quotable.
It's so quotable.
It's so cool.
I love it. My friend love it.
Cool, so you guys never answered my favorite clue question.
I had mine.
Oh, sorry. So Charlotte. So the actual like the pipe.
The pipe itself, opening
pipe
the door.
itself
That was
was
my
your favorite.
favorite. That they brought it back again.
Gotcha. For me, it's got to be the glasses.
Mm.
I think the glasses are really cool. It's like ancient.
He's
It's like
switching
type
it
from,
up.
like Ben Franklin, and it's also.
I think he made these.
I think Benjamin
I think-
Franklin made these.
That realization that would be so cool.
You'd be like,
Oh,
my.
yeah. There's
The
more to it.
spectacles. I've always.
I tried to think about that, like the ink that had to go into that and how they made that overlap, and
even-
only
yeah,
a
I don't
certain
even
kind
know
of ink
how,
can be
like-
seen by a certain color. Whoa.
That's
Ben, and I'm speaking of
Blows my
Benjamin
mind.
Franklin. Well done, Benjamin Franklin.
not Ben Gates. Common misconception. Common mistake. I've
Hello.
always wanted some bifocals like that though.
Oh,
I think I might get some.
Some ocular device. Seem to be some sort of I just love all the names they use instead of actually
They're
saying
glasses.
There's
Some old glasses.
multicolored glasses. Have you heard of 3D glasses?
I
That's
think
what
there's a historical cartograph that leads to items of intrinsic
value.
they-
You're treasure hunters.
Oh, man.
Did Bigfoot
Um,
take it?
I do
Did
think
Bigfoot?
though,
I love that she mentions Bigfoot.
I think one of my favorite
So funny.
clues. I do think one of my favorite clues though is the declaration leading to the Silence Do Good letters, and not because like
Mm.
the secretness of it on the back. I just love the idea of the two historical documents being connected by a common person. I think that's really neat. How it's like Ben Franklin was
How
like the
they-
architect connecting the
yeah.
two, but it is also cool how the Maelstrom pipe connects like the old history to like the American history, because that's where that crossover is. Because the Maelstrom pipe itself is super, super old, but they use that pipe to connect it to a historical document, which I think is
Gotcha.
cool.
No, that's honestly a good point because like
Fascinating.
it is a lot of American history, but you do realize like the treasure's way older, and so like it's rooted much like.
I mean, she freaking mentioned the Library of Alexandria. That's like ancient
Yeah.
Greece.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, that's pretty old.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I feel like we could talk about this forever. But,
We have and we can.
so
If you couldn't tell, we love Natty
it's
T.
so good. So with that, should we give it our rankings and our little 30-second?
Last thing. Even if it's just like for just appreciating it, the score.
Yeah.
Can we just give the score its proper like its main
I think
theme?
it's really good.
Like it's one of those random movies that's like not like a good franchise of like Pirates or Star Wars or like
Yeah.
it's just like National Treasure, but like it randomly has this just like historic, powerful like
If I think of a soundtrack
theme.
for the government, that's what I think of.
It's so good.
It's just like
Not to mention Star Spangled Banner, et cetera, but the soundtrack of America.
Honorable mentions. Honorable mentions.
from now on, National Treasure theme will be played.
I would
Number
vote for
one.
that.
The
I would
State of
vote
the
for
Union
that.
address. Just
I would vote for that. I would vote for that.
that'd be actually really funny.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, it's a solid. And then like also like I love the chase scenes too. Like it really is just it's a good soundtrack.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it adds to, I think the fun and the
It just feels
The
it
trumpets and
feels
everything.
patriotic.
Oh.
It just feels patriotic.
no, it does for sure.
I can never I never understand. I just feel like music and scores can make you feel like a certain way, like make you feel the mood of the movie, and I can never explain like why it is, but it just feels so good. Like this match of the score to this movie is like perfect. It's like glove in hand. Like, it's just so
Mhm.
nice. Like I don't know. It just fits it so well. It's just hard to put. into
It's like-
words.
And I think the older I get, the more I realize like how important the score is.
Oh yeah.
Because like there's movies like I said, I think National Treasure could be considered a more mediocre movie, but for me like it automatically raises up just because the score.
Yeah.
Or I think I can think of a lot of movies that are just like that score is really good and it just brings up the movie so much.
I think the score raises its legitimacy up a notch.
Gives it a little,
Yeah.
and we'll
I
find
agree.
out soon what Thomas's ranking is. If the score makes it or is it good or a bust?
All right, should we do it? Should we rank?
Let's do it.
Who would like to begin?
I think Ryan's really feeling it.
All
I
right,
actually want to go last.
you want to go last?
Did I go last last time though?
I don't know. I can't
I think I went last. I'll go first. I'll go first.
I
already
don't
know-
remember.
I think prediction, Ryan's gonna have the lowest score out of all three of us. I think that's my prediction.
Interesting.
All right, Holmes, give us your score and then I'll time you.
I'm very interested to see
I'm
this how it compares
nervous
to
'cause-
Jurassic Park too.
So remember last time
Alright.
how I wasn't as prepared with the score? That's on me. First.
So for reference, you gave Jurassic Park a 7.1 out of 9.
I know. So this one I really had to kind of think, and it was kind of hard, and it might be a little panic pick, but I'm going for it. So my score for Natty T National Treasure is a solid 6.
What?
Clean 6.
Whoa! Below Jurassic Park by a whole point.
All right, here we go. You can have 30 seconds in 3, 2,
That was
1.
So Natty T, I love it, and off nostalgia and so many other things from childhood, it's great. The score is great. It's a really fun movie. It's really rewatchable. It's got it's quotable. I love it for that. But as far as the echelon of movies, it's just like good movies are, to me, they're more bulletproof. They're more realistic. They have a little bit more like sense to them, and that's like those are my top movies, and so it gets knocked down. But it's still over 5, which is like the good movies. So
A 6. That shocked me.
That shocked me a lot.
really,
Tommy's appalled.
what did you guys think it was gonna be?
Well, I thought it'd be more similar to mine.
We'll talk about it later. Tommy, you're next. Definitely, you're next. I want to hear it.
Who wants to time me?
I'm scared. I'll time.
Yeah,
I'll time.
Okay,
Holmes will time.
so my ranking is an 8.1.
Whoa!
8.1. That's high.
We're talking like that's probably around Interstellar Inception level.
That's pretty good. 8?
8.1.
So I'm ready for my
9
30
is
seconds.
highest. 9 is the highest.
Okay.
All right.
3, 2.
This also has a lot of nostalgia factor for me. I remember watching it growing up. I think it's what instilled my love for like politics and history. And that's what I'm going into. So I think it greatly influenced my life. High rewatchability rate, great score, freaking quotable. Honestly, it's probably like my top 10 movie list. I just love National Treasure, and I always will. And I don't even know what to say, but yeah, 8.1. I feel good giving it, and I don't know. I really love it.
Well done. Well said.
Wow.
Those are some two very different. We thought we'd be the closest.
I thought we were going to be right on. I thought Ryan was going to be the lowest, and now I think he's going to be above you.
Mine is not below a 6.
All right, what is it? What is it?
I've been debating back and forth. I think it hovers a little below a 7. I'm thinking around like 6.8.
Not 6.9.
Not quite.
Wait, so you were getting mad at me for being in a 6, and you're still in the 6 range?
Well, I know how much you love the movie.
That's fair.
3.
I think the soundtrack really pulls this one ahead for me. It might be lower if it didn't have as great of a soundtrack, I would say. I think it does have the nostalgia factor. I think it's great clues, the hints. It's, of course, more childish. But it's not as realistic. We can't necessarily, I wouldn't give it upwards of an 8 or a 9 because I don't think like that could possibly happen the way they did it. But I appreciate it overall as a movie.
So it's interesting. Just kind of comment on your guys' scores. I feel like a lot of your scores are talking about like the realisticness of it, which is interesting because I know some of your favorite movies, and I know for a fact they're not very realistic. Like, should I say like The Dark Knight? Just bring it up just for fun.
I feel like it's much.
It's not realistic at all. They saw a freaking bomb inside of his stomach.
But plot holes.
A multi-billionaire fighting against a crazy psychotic guy. You telling me that's not realistic?
Not at all. I don't know. I think it's interesting. I feel like this is more realistic than that. But whatever. This is why we talk. This is why we have a podcast.
Overall, I would say overall plot too. I don't know. It's a lot.
it's the I think it's more of like the tone of it too, the realistic tone. That it's grounded. It's a superhero movie, probably the most grounded superhero movie we have, which we'll save later for Dark Knight when we talk about it. But I just feel like it's much more consistent as far as plot and goes. Right, where this is a little bit more just kind of like, oh, throw this there for plot device for characters, and which it's fun, but I don't think it's.
Yeah, I think it's a fun and great movie, but like I have some movies that I've thought about and like compared it against, and like it's not quite like an 8.5. It's not like an 8.
But I will say it's hard.
It's
hard
maybe
for me to
7.
I maybe I should have put it a 7. Maybe I was kind of.
That's 6.
6.
That's so low.
Okay, understand. So we all have different variants though of like what we think is like, because I think like anything above a 5 is like I like it.
I guess we all have
Anything
different
below a 5 is
criteria,
probably
too.
like and it's hard to like. I need to probably do what Ryan did. Probably maybe think ahead to see like where my top movies would fall. Like would it be 8-7 range? Because maybe I gave Jurassic Park too high then. Like it's just it's gonna be all over the place.
I feel good about my standing.
8.1. All right.
No, high with it.
I can go to bed tonight feeling perfectly fine.
I love it. I love it.
I'm gonna be up all night thinking about my rating. Yeah.
Oh,
my
man.
goodness.
Any last comments?
I just to redeem myself, I do still love Natty T, despite what my rating may seem.
Right.
It is still one of my favorite like childhood movies. It's solid, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that we have a passion for Natty T. I think it'll always have a special place in our hearts. Some might value it higher than others. Who's to say?
Who's to say who's wrong and who's right? It's all
as
relative.
if we had some sort of scale to compare it to or anything.
I don't know. If we were to compare on a scale of like, I don't know, 9, I don't know.
I'm gonna be eating my that one for a while.
You're gonna be eating crow.
I'm gonna be eating that for a while. I should have gave it a 7 at least.
Oh, man. Well, we appreciate it.
I respect it.
Thanks for listening to our ramblings. I feel like that was pretty good.
As always, let us know down below. Good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah. Let us know what your rating would be. Would you rate it higher, lower, whatever? And I believe
if Freemasons or not.
Yeah, it's true. I believe next week we are talking about The Dark Knight, actually, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Potentially, there might be some changing around the schedule.
So we're gonna have to talk about that.
Let's talk about it though. We'll see.
Yeah, I love it.
Ignore everything I just said, and we'll see you next week.
We'll cut that.
Fix it in post. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. See you guys. Release date. Holmes out.
Love it.